one guy who's going to fetch a high price for week 2 is Deandre Hopkins, and the Houston passing attack. For all of Hoyer's faults, was actually very productive. Nate Washington also had a great game. But DeAndre Hopkins just shy of the 100-yard mark, had 2 touchdowns, 13 targets for Nuke. Are you going to hit the red button on Hopkins for week 2?
Well, I'm always going to start Hopkins because I drafted him round 3 or 4. So anybody that gets drafted round 3 or 4, especially after a monster outing like that of 13 targets, sure, 2 touchdowns, you're going to start automatically. I will say this though, our good friend Knox Bardeen, we have a mutual friend here. He always mocks me. My number one complaint about the NFL is how certain stadiums have the absolute worst turf, okay? Carolina is on that short list, right, an enemies list, if you will, of just horrible turf. Unless it's completely sunny on Sunday. We don't know what the weather yet, okay? People are slipping and sliding on that field, and it drives me crazy, okay? So, that said, even if it's Ryan Mallett, Brian Hoyer, who cares? Whatever Hopkins accomplished last week, don't assume that that's going to be the case in week 2.
Now, with Nate Washington, that's sort of a wild card there. Washington also had 11 targets of his own. He did hit the century mark. Is it going to be a situation where one guy is just getting the ball, the other guy is not getting the ball?
This is not 2012, Josh, okay? We are 3 years older, 3 years thicker. We don't have Arian Foster on our show anymore. And whatever cachet Nate Washington had was a PPR. That's just not there. I'm not buying it. If anybody is going to be the great number 2, it's going to be Cecil Shorts. And I know he didn't have a great week 1, but as we've learned many times, right, there probably wasn't much of a game plan for Nate Washington. That will change in week 2 and so forth and so on, things like that. I like Nate. I really do. I'm a big fan, but I would be much happier for Houston's sake if he was the 3rd or 4th receiver, not the number 2 guy freelancing for 100 yards every now and then.